Hi, I'm Luke. I use Bipap, and this is my friend Lucinda. Um,
Hi, I'm Lucinda, and I have a 3-year-old daughter who also uses BiPAP. We're here today to talk a little bit about BiPAP, and I'm learning so much from Luke, but I'm here to also talk to you about being a parent of a child who uses BiPAP.
so, what are your feelings about Bipap? Like, just in general.
Well, I think for any parent, your feelings about BiPAP at first are very, very scary. You're concerned that your child is going to become dependent and not be able to breathe without the BiPAP machine. It's in fact not true. In fact, your child's breathing ability is strengthened once you're on BiPAP. Probably the scariest part for me as a parent was when the man came and dropped off the machine, because you're kind of expecting that person to be a respiratory technician or even a doctor, but they really just drop off the machine.
Yeah, well, I don't remember. But I'm sure that was true.
They drop off the machine, they hand you a paper to sign, and off they go. And now you have this piece of equipment in your home that you didn't have before, that your child is expected to breathe on. For Adelina, who's my daughter, we had not used BiPAP right from the beginning, but she was less than a year old and had had her first respiratory condition. She'd had her first pneumonia. And so we came home from the hospital with the BiPAP machine and started using it during the nighttime. And when did you start using BiPAP?
A while, like 6 or 7 years ago, a couple years ago. So did they at least, like, tell you how to use it when you were at the hospital? Or did they just say, here, use it, whatever?
Yeah, definitely at the hospital, they had started using it while she had the pneumonia. So we paid a lot of attention to what the nurses were doing, and that was the way we learned the most, was watching other people using it on our daughter first.
Where was that? Like, what hospital?
That was at New York Presbyterian in New York.
Have there been any, like, how do you feel about it now? Like, in terms of a couple of years down the line?
I feel much better about it now. Now that she's 3, almost 4, she's more accepting of it. At first, it's a matter of just realizing that when she's crying, when we're putting it on, she's crying just because it's something new and not necessarily because it hurts.
Right.
Because it doesn't hurt. It's just something that's new to her. And once you realize that, it gets a little easier for everybody. And then you get past that point and she kind of settles into it, and then all you hear is the hum of the machine and she falls asleep. And we all kind of breathed a sigh of relief and said, you know what? We can do this, and it's certainly going to help her with that positive pressure inside her lungs, strengthening it from the inside out, because there's only so much we can do from the outside in.
Right. Have you noticed any problems aside from the, like, initial hesitations? Like, have there, like, in the past 2 years or 3 years?
I think the biggest problems have been figuring out what's the right interface as she gets older. Because we started with the prongs and have
cannula?
the cannulas, and some air was escaping around the cannulas, so we kind of had to make a home adaptation and put a little foam piece around the cannula, because if there is too much air leaking out, the BiPAP is not actually doing its job. There really has to be a very good seal around the BiPAP.
Yeah, I had the same problem, and then we had another cannula, and we had that problem. And we had to get a different cannula.
Yeah.
And now that problem isn't, we're lucky, I guess.
It doesn't happen anymore,
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to figure out what's the right interface between the machine and your child. It's just like any other match in life. So once you have a good match, it really works out. And then we tried also the other, what's the one that's
The
like
mask?
a triangle? The mask. And for her, I think she might still be a little too little because the air leaks out a little bit around her eyes.
Yeah, those are big.
Those are big.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to have to grow into that one a little bit. And it's a little bit more forceful for her. You also become a little bit of a scientist, I've learned. You have to realize how much you don't know and allow yourself to be patient with yourself and learn. And you'll learn what the settings mean, and you'll learn what the interfaces are, and you'll learn what 12/5 means.
I don't know what that means.
And you'll learn that there's different pressure out and pressure in.
Right.
And what you need to know, you will figure out when you get there.
Yeah. What advice would you give to another parent whose child was starting BiPAP?
Be persistent. Definitely make sure you give it your best shot. stick with it. Even though it's going to be difficult in the beginning, for the long term, it's definitely the best decision for your child, and they will ultimately realize it's the best decision for them too.
That's what I was trying to say in the last video, but I couldn't get the right words.
I think together you guys did great. So thanks again for all of your advice. I think everyone will appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.